Welcome to Between State Lines.
Welcome back to Between State Lines, episode 50. We are 2 away from 1 year. It is June, and with that, obviously, happy Pride to all of the people in the LGBTQIA plus community, and hopefully an uncomfortable month for the bigots and the haters out there. We were just talking off recording about family shame and stuff like that, things that our families have done. And I have not shared this story with you, Stephanie. So, uh, back when I was a kid, my mom did weird stuff, obviously, seances and shit. But she stumbled across this weird thing. I can't remember what the company was called. But basically, this company had a coupon code. And they sold like silverware and dishes and cups and all that stuff. Really nice stuff. But the code was like $10 off any $10 purchase with free shipping. And so my mom, being a hoarder, she abused the fuck out of that. And so I think for like 2 or 3 months straight, we would get 60 boxes a day from UPS of like plates, china,
Were they just
dishes.
giving it away, basically?
They were well, they didn't intend. And this is back when like the internet was really just coming about, and they didn't intend to have it abused so badly, and so they let it go on for so long, and then they finally decided, oh crap, we're losing a lot of money, and they killed the code or made it like $10 off, $25 or more. But
Mm.
yeah, so my entire pantry was like all over the place, just plates and glasses and shit.
Were they essentially free, or was she paying $10 for a $20 item?
Well, she would add an item to the cart, like one glass that's like $9, and then she'd use the code, and it would be $0 and free shipping.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Yeah,
it
that's shiesty. I would do that.
was yeah, pretty wild stuff, pretty crazy. Um, a lot of shame. We had so many dishes, and like there was no reason to have any of it, but she kept it. And I think she still has like 90% of the dishes that we refused to have take from her. So
Dang.
yeah.
My whole CD collection was the like pick 12 CDs for a penny, and then you had to subscribe. And so then they would send every month a CD, and then they would send the bill. But I was just a kid, and so I would go take the bill to my grandpa, and my grandpa would call and yell at them. And then they would take it all away, and I wouldn't owe them anything, and then another company would do it again, and I would do it again. My grandpa's house, my parents' house, my whole CD collection.
They didn't learn.
I was 12. Thought that was awesome.
Although I did find this really cool. It's not cool. It's kind of lame, but kind of cool. This like apparently there's a hack. I don't know what cell phone provider you have. I have Verizon, and apparently, if you go on Verizon and you go to like on the app and you go to manage your devices, and you click one device, and then you scroll to the bottom and then click uh, get a transfer pin. Essentially, you're telling Verizon, I'm taking my phone, leaving your service. So you just click the button that says transfer pin request, and you don't do anything. You don't actually request one. You click that, and then the second you click it, they give you a $20 off per line for a year.
What?
And so I thought that was fake, and so I did it today, like before the show, and I got $20 for both my lines per month off. It's pretty crazy. Pretty wild.
Uh,
Because sometimes people like that say that they didn't get it right away and they got a text the next day saying, "Hey, here's $20 off." So you might get a text tomorrow that says, "Here's your offer." So
I'm going to try
who
it.
knows? Yeah.
Every account access I have. Verizon just knows it's so expensive.
It is so. I mean, it's honestly it's the best, but it's the most expensive, and it's kind of like I don't know. I guess it's worth it.
I guess.
They keep getting me to try to like switch. Like I have a grandfather plan where I have Disney included for free,
Mm,
and they keep trying to get me to upgrade to a new plan, and where you have
of
to like
course.
pay $10 for it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, why would I fucking do that? That's so stupid.
Yeah, that is dumb.
But yeah,
They're
so
gonna trick you into it somehow.
they're like, we'll give you 5 free phones. Like, okay, I guess that's worth it.
I guess. No, they'll just be like, we can't help you with this current plan because it's so old.
I miss being on my parents' plan back in the day. It was like $30 a month for my phone. I miss those days. Unlimited data, unlimited texting.
Well, that's my second phone's on my mom's. I think it's $15. I'm gonna go back to it someday.
So today's beef corner. Number 1,
Oh,
fuck you
good job.
TikTok. The typical once a week fuck you TikTok. Number 2, fuck bigots. Facebook is pushing a ton. Facebook and Instagram are pushing a ton of bigot posts about pride and like how the rainbow belongs to God and how it's not Pride Month, it's Veterans Month, and it's straight Pride Month. Like, I've heard like I've seen all the bigoted posts, and
Wow, I haven't seen any of that.
I don't know why. I think they just know that I see it and will engage with it and like argue, and that drives engagement. So they're like, oh, we're gonna show this guy who's clearly a liberal this awful post, and he'll get in the comments and argue and get doxxed, and then someone's gonna come find him.
Yeah. And then he'll get
Um,
banned from another one.
Number 3, fuck you, Facebook. Okay,
Yeah,
that
fuck you,
includes
Facebook.
Instagram. Number 4, this is a very unique situation and story I have to tell. Have you ever heard of the place called Stanton Optical?
I don't think
No,
so.
they're a West Coast optical place. Yeah, sorry, you haven't gone to an eye doctor in a while, so that would make sense.
Ever. Just grade
Ever.
school.
So they're an eyeglass place. You can buy glasses. You can also get your eye exam there. Anyways, it's usually all like same day appointments. So I had to go there to get my eyes checked because I had 1 day left on my old insurance plan and wanted to get glasses on that plan before it went out. So I went there, got the exam, not a big deal, fine. And then I go to get my prescription and they were holding it hostage. Like they were like, trying to convince me to buy glasses there. And I was like, listen, I appreciate you. I know what you're doing. I just want to go to Costco. And then she proceeded to argue with me about how Costco is more expensive and how I'll be back tomorrow to get hundreds of dollars off in comparison. And I was like, I guarantee you that's not the case. But can we just agree to disagree here and let me get my prescription and get out of this fucking building? I want to be left alone. I don't want to argue with you. I just want to go. So after like probably 10 minutes of this back and forth shit, uh, she finally let me pay and let me get out of there. And then I go to Costco and I got 2 pairs of glasses for like $50 at Costco.
Wow.
And there's no way it was anywhere close to that at that place. So fuck you, Stanton Optical.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
10 minutes of arguing about this, and she wouldn't even let you pay before that?
No. She was like, it was like the prescription was right in front of me, and I was holding it, but I couldn't take it. Like I couldn't pay for it. I had to pay for it first. But she wouldn't take my freaking card until I like, for whatever reason, agreed to like look at glasses. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I just want to get out of here, please. I need coffee. I want to go home. You're bothering me.
This is the worst?
And I was like, and we are also going to get sushi. So I was like, I have to leave here in 5 minutes to make my sushi time. And I'm not missing sushi to argue with you about glasses. So go to
You should have
hell.
told her that. You should have been like, listen, lady, I have a sushi time. I gotta go.
I have all you can eat sushi lined up here, and I'm not going to miss it for you, lady. Like, I'm not going to miss it.
Not today, Not tomorrow, not ever.
It was weird. And then she pulled a weird line when she was like, she said, "Oh, if your glasses are cheaper, I'll buy you a bottle of wine." And I was like, "Okay, stop. Like,
I
you're
literally
weird
never
now.
want to see you again.
Yeah, I don't ever want to see you in my entire life ever again. This interaction needs to be over 10 minutes ago."
This was the worst experience of my life. 0 out of 10. I will be writing a review. I would have wrote a review.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I was
What'd
I
you
was like
say?
I was like the eyeglass exam went great, but this lady at the counter argued with me for like 10 minutes about how Costco is more expensive, and she wouldn't let me leave, and all I wanted to do was go get sushi, and that's it. And they responded saying, "Oh, we'll look into this." I'm like, "I don't like care. I just like
I just want you to
I
know
just
that
want you
you're
to
the
know
freaking worst.
salespeople are just like the worst people. Like I I don't have the personality to be a salesperson, but every person I've interacted with, either any job I've had or they're a salesperson, or like a door-to-door salesperson, they're always so annoying. Like there was one person that came here like a month ago, and it was my daughter was going through a sleep regression, and he rang the doorbell and almost woke her up. And we have like the Nest camera, so like the a loud ass doorbell throughout the entire house. And I was like, I walked out there, I was like, dude, my daughter is sleeping. She's going through a regression. Can you please leave? Like, I don't want to have this interaction. He was like, and he tried to sell me security cameras. I'm like, dude, what did you not understand? My daughter is right there in the window. Like, she can hear us talking. Like,
Go away.
oh, it's 8 p.m. at night. Like, why are you on my doorstep at 8 p.m.? Like, go away.
No, I hate that. We have pushy insect people around here. And sometimes they won't go away. I'm like, listen, I don't handle this. It's free for me. I'm not the person you want to talk to. Bye.
Insect people are also the biggest, I feel like the biggest scam, because we had an insect service because we had a freaking groundhog or whatever in the front yard for like a year. And I called them to get rid of the groundhog, and they're like, "Yeah, we can do that, and also give you like just general pest control for like 4 times a year for like $100 or whatever." I was like, "Fine, just do it." And so it was cheaper than me like going out and buying traps or buying bait.
Yeah.
And they never got the groundhog. They
What?
kept trying. They put like poison in the ground. They put like they tried all their methods and they could not get him. He evaded their systems. So it was a waste of money. The groundhog still lived. It's still alive. It's in my neighbor's yard now, not mine, thankfully.
Yeah.
But
Got lucky
like,
there.
right? And I'm like, okay, I guess I can use you for like handling hornets and stuff. But like, I just bought hornet spray at Home Depot. Just go around spraying my patio like once a week, and bam, cheaper.
I mean, I had pest people when I was in Arizona because scorpions.
That's also fair.
But yeah, we don't do pest people here. My uncle's my pest person. Plus, I feel bad if I kill spiders and stuff because, like, they don't deserve to die just because I saw them.
Fuck them spiders. Although I don't know. A brown recluse or a black widow, they don't deserve to live. They're poisonous. They'll bite you.
Uh, no. I
No.
believe that widows are gentle creatures. Now that I am in that Facebook group, you might as well call it a hearse because I'm about to pet that thing.
So I have a proposal for the 2-year anniversary of the show next year. We should do a live show in person where we have you on stage and you're holding a black widow.
I don't have any widow friends, but
Oh,
I
we'll
know
find.
people.
We will find someone who has widows who keeps
I
those
don't want.
pets.
I don't want to hold it.
Yeah, but you just said they're gentle. You just said
They are. There's people that nurse them back to health. It's sweet, really, but I just try not to kill things. Like, we found what I think was a black widow the other day at work. And I did ask, can I squish it? But they're against that there. They said, we relocate. And I said, okay, that's fine. So Aaron picked it up. And then he was like, where do I go with this? And I was like, well, it's going to be hot out today. Take her to the forest. Like, not nearby. But let her live. Hopefully doesn't
Far
find
enough
her way
away.
back.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I don't know. Apparently, they can't find their way back. Maybe widows can, but like in general, I guess spiders can't find their way back to where they came from. They don't have that like
Need?
the texture. Yeah, they don't have like that, whatever you call it, like navigational awareness, whatever,
Huh.
where they know. So you could
Did
put
you
them
scoop
outside your
that?
house.
Or
Hmm?
did you know that?
Someone told me that. I looked it up like not recently, a while ago, and it was true.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can just put them outside your house, and they won't get back inside because they don't
So
know how to get back inside.
that one time that I drove the spider downtown was a little bit of overkill, but it wasn't going to make its way back to my house.
Well, I think there was more to that story where you put it in a jar and then you slam the jar in the trash
Yeah.
can. I think there was
It was a
more.
big wolf spider. I got to say that. It was on my mom's lap. I had to protect my mother. So I scooped it up with a jar, I put a lid on it. I drove, picked up my best friend, drove downtown, found a trash can outside the old Nordstrom, threw the jar like pretty hard into this metal trash can, and then jumped back in the car and took off because that's like a few miles from where I lived. And so it probably wouldn't find its way back. And it's not up to me if it lived or died. But the possibility that it could have lived did ease my conscience.
Okay, so two things here. Number one, if I were that wolf spider, I would have taken that so personally. Like, you didn't just toss it in the trash can, you just place it in the trash can. You slammed it down, like, with purpose. Like, you were sending a message to this wolf spider.
He
Like,
needed me to slam it down in order for the glass to possibly break.
so you didn't confirm if it broke.
No.
So that this poor wolf spider could have been trapped. Two further things here. One, the wolf spider could have been further trapped in that jar forever, and is now still in there and is in a landfill somewhere dead. Two, somebody could have walked past the trash can, been like, "Oh, a free jar. It's empty. It looks pretty clean. I'm gonna, like a homeless person, I'm gonna pull this out and use it for like water." And they open the jar up, right? And out comes the spider who was just like aggressively attacked by some lady, and like with purpose and vengeance. Apparently, this wolf spider is now unleashed upon the world. Probably killed this homeless man
Do you
or
think that
woman.
the homeless man or woman would not look in the jar before opening it?
Well, that's the thing. They looked and like, oh, look, a cute little spider. I'm gonna let it out. But
It
the
was
second you
not
open
little.
it, the second they opened it, it would have like pounced on them. They wouldn't have had a second to like
It was
let it
not
loose or
little.
get away. It would have killed them. So
That
you
was a
could be responsible
big
for
spider.
this one person's death, maybe. Also, like that spider, if it got loose, maybe it went and attacked every single person that looked like you. Maybe it's still out there, hunting for you and killing other people one by
How long
one to find
do
this
wolf
person.
spiders live?
Probably a long time.
You don't want to
How
Google
many
this?
years ago was this?
Many. Probably
What?
11.
Okay, wolf spiders live. Was it a male or female? Is the
Hard to
question.
tell. Hard to tell.
So it was if it was a male, it would have lived less than a year. If it was a female, it would have lived 2 to 3 years. But But I feel like there's a caveat to that. You probably injected it with like all this adrenaline because of how it almost died, and now it's probably still alive. It's like probably a grandmom wolf spider who's like at this point 13 years old hunting for you.
Yeah, but it doesn't have that instinct, so I'm fine.
Oh, this one has the instinct. It's like I said, it took this personally and it developed the instinct. It
Nah,
evolved in
we're
the
cool.
moment. But also, it's very funny to me that there's a spider on your mom. You grabbed a jar, put it in the jar, and immediately left the house to get rid of it.
Well, I
Or
knew
did you wait?
I wanted it to have some sort of chance, but I wasn't about to open that jar.
Poor spider. Poor spider.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Things that happened this week that are pretty crazy. Something happened today that I didn't think was going to happen. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is back in the U.S. and he's facing charges for transporting undocumented immigrants.
What?
Yeah, he's facing charges. They brought him back to the country to charge him. And they're just doing this because people were like upset that he didn't get due process, and they're like, "Oh, well, now we're giving him due process. We're going to charge him with transporting undocumented immigrants."
They transported
Trumped up.
undocumented immigrant.
That's the yeah. They're actively doing it, and it's okay.
Just saying.
Fuckers. Also, today I learned that there is a cargo ship off of the coast of, I don't recall what country. I think Kenya or something. I think one of the African countries. Um, where ICE agents were accidentally put in this cargo hold in like one of those like shipping containers and deported from America, and they're sitting off the coast of Africa, unable to leave this shipping container because they're surrounded by on land by uh, foreign adversaries who want to kill them. Pretty
What?
funny. Yeah. Pretty fucking funny.
That's wild. How
Thoughts and prayers.
the hell did that happen?
They're the stupidest motherfuckers in the world, and now we're gonna get ICE coming to our house. So they're the stupidest motherfuckers in the world. They really are.
I just, when you appoint all these people that don't know anything to all these positions, I guess that's how you use or lose a cargo container of your people.
Which also, did you see that Trump appointed a 22-year-old, recent grad to lead the Homeland Security's counterterrorism efforts? And he most recently worked a job at the HEB grocery store in Texas part-time. So not
Yes.
even a full-time employee.
Yes.
We're so cooked.
Yes.
We're gonna have so many people attack us because this guy's probably not. I feel bad. Like he's probably not. I don't want to say dumb, but he's probably also a Trumper. So
I
yeah,
mean, I think that's how you get appointed to these things. My God.
I never ever want to hear again how DEI was a problem. Like I don't want to hear that anymore. Like, are you fucking kidding me? At least if you're gonna argue DEIs are bad, they were hiring qualified people. Like this kid doesn't know shit. Like, why is he in this role?
Yeah. I like, did he have to interview you for it? What happened?
I think he just had a connection with Trump and like, yeah, here you go.
Wow.
Not only this, like I'm pretty sure I don't want to say it's the director of FEMA or one of the higher ups in FEMA did not know the United States has a hurricane season.
You have to be freaking kidding me.
Like, how the fuck do you not know that? I mean, what's her face? who's the fucking Chrissy Noem, the Homeland Security lady? Oh fuck, what's her name? The she was the governor of I think South Dakota, whatever it was. The director of Homeland Security. She did not know what habeas corpus was. Like, did not know that. And these people are running our fucking government.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scary.
Scary. It's dumb. But Trump and Elon this week.
The greatest breakup of Pride Month.
The greatest breakup. It was beautiful. And like, I thought at first it was fake. I was like, this is going to be fake. Like, gotta be like some kind of distraction to keep us.
I'm sure it kind of still is.
Probably still is. But the way I feel like it's probably partially a distraction, but also I'm sure a lot of it's like, real. Because the way it's escalated with like Trump canceling Elon's government contracts and Elon supporting impeachment, and then Trump's team went to deport Elon, and then Elon exposing Trump's ties to Epstein and possibly having rigged the election. Like, it's wild that this fucking thing happened in 2025.
Yeah. It's been one hell of a year, and not in a good way.
And we're only 6 months into the year.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even a full 6 months into his fucking presidency. Like, we're under 6 months. That's fucking like just insanity.
Yeah, it's been the longest 6 months of my life.
Longest. Oh, yeah. So, but I figured since it's been a crazy week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we should read some scary stories off Reddit. And I picked 3 shorter stories. There's one really long one that I was reading through it and I was like, man, this is such a good story. But it's also like, I think 6 parts, and it was way too long for this podcast, at least today. So I scaled back on that. But I think we'll do 3 of the short ones and then see if we can get you scared.
Okay.
That's the goal. So
We'll
the
see.
first one is titled "A Package Marked Return to Sender," and it's from the R No Sleep subreddit by user Manon _ Lyset, and it was awarded Best Title 2015 to 2016. So it's actually got some weight behind it as being a good story.
Yeah.
So here we go. My neighbor is one of those annoying wannabe YouTube personalities. Over the years, I've seen him cough out cinnamon, lay flat in the hood of his car as it slowly creeps down the driveway, and douse himself in lukewarm water, all while screaming epic win, epic fail, or fuck, epic maintenance of the status quo, for all I know. It can get tiring to watch him go about his shenanigans in the pursuit of viral fame. So when he knocked on my door the other day, told me he was going away for a few weeks, and asked that I would get his mail, honestly, it was a relief. I can't explain this peace of mind I had knowing I didn't have to brace myself for any stupidity for a while. I was always afraid his stunts would wind up bleeding over into my life. Things were pretty normal for the first few days. He got some bills, some spam, and what I could only assume was a birthday card. And then one evening, I got home to find a cardboard box waiting on his front porch. In big red letters was written, "Return to sender." I'm no small fry, but I admit I had trouble lifting the box on my own. It was really freaking heavy. Lugging it across the road to my house was even harder. And then I quickly realized there was no way I could drag it up the stairs and through the front door. So I left his package in my garage. It wasn't like I kept my car in there. The garage door was a piece of shit that refused to open without a good thug. and a whack. It was less trouble just leaving it in the driveway than it was to fight with the garage door every morning and night. In hindsight, I should have put the package down while I struggled to open the tricky door. But you know how it is when you have a good grip on something, no point in setting it down if you don't have to. It was as I kicked the door for the third time that I lost my grip on the package, and it fell to the ground. I heard a light crack inside. Shit, I cursed. I hoped I hadn't broken anything important, but figured I wouldn't tell my neighbor about it and let him assume the break happened en route. Hands free, I finally managed to get the garage door unstuck, and boy did it screech in protest as it rolled up and over me. I dragged the box the rest of the way, setting it in the corner for whenever my neighbor came back to claim it. And then I forgot all about it, until a few days passed, that is. I'm not sure exactly how long it took for the smell to waft in from the crack under the garage door, but it came in a slow progression. It was a sickly sweet odor similar to a skunk, and for the first few days after I smelled it, I genuinely assumed that's exactly what it was, roadkill that had left its mark on my house. It was only when I realized the scent was growing more intense instead of fading that I went looking for the source. That's when I opened the garage door and the odor knocked me back, holding my nose. The culprit wasn't hard to identify. The only change in my garage was the box in the corner. I recall thinking it must have been one of those meat of the month subscription boxes. The meat must have gone rancid from being left out of the fridge for so long, and how much meat could have been in there for the box to have been so large and heavy? An entire freaking cow? I covered my nose as I approached the box, a pair of scissors in my hand. I probably wouldn't have needed it to open it, as it had become soggy enough at the bottom to poke through with a finger. But I wasn't about to poke my finger into spoiled meat juices. That soggy bottom was the reason I had to open the box in the first place. If I tried to drag it out whole, everything would spill onto the floor. I was going to dump the pieces of meat one garbage bag at a time and take them down to the dumpster, a process I wasn't looking forward to. My scissors tore through the tape along the top of the cardboard box. I thought the smell couldn't get any worse, but as I flipped the flaps open, I discovered a whole new gamut of stink. It was like opening a burning oven, but instead of a heat wave, I was met with waves of piss, sweat, shit, and putrefaction. It was so bad that I staggered back and had to force down the puke that began to guzzle out of me. I don't think I could have handled that scent mingling with the horrors coming out of the box. I'm not ashamed to admit I ran out the door for a fresh breath of air, but in the short time I'd spent in the garage, the smell had become so ingrained in the fabric of my clothes that it clung to me like a shadow. Nothing I tried could keep the smell out of my nostrils. Not air fresheners, not a face mask, not 3 showers, not a change of clothes. Every second that box lay open in the garage was another second the smell allowed a foothold in my home. I had to bite the bullet. I returned to the garage, the flaps of the box still open, as though inviting me to look. I was prepared, a clothespin pinning my nostrils shut, a garbage bag in one hand, and the strongest cleaner I could find in the other, and long rubber gloves to keep my skin from having to touch what was inside. But, as it turns out, I needed none of those things. I wouldn't have to touch or clean the contents of the box. I would only have to suffer the nightmares every night. You see, there was meat in that box, but it did not come from a cow or a pig. No, it was worse than that. It was my neighbor, dead. Still in one piece, but dead. I called the cops, and naturally they took me in for interrogation. It's kind of hard not to suspect the man with a corpse in his garage, after all. Thankfully, they soon realized I wasn't involved. My DNA might have been all over that box. The smell might have left a mark through my house, but there was one piece of irrefutable evidence in my neighbor's own hands that proved my innocence: a vlogging camera. They showed me the footage only once. I'm not sure if they were allowed to or if they felt so bad they figured it couldn't hurt. Either way, I saw it. My neighbor was sitting in the box outside of a shipping facility, laughing as he told the whole world how he's going to mail himself across state lines. He brought pee bottles, food, a pillow, and a few flashlights. His friend, a guy I had seen at his place several times to help with some of his stunts, closed the lid and presumably dropped him off for shipment. Throughout the next few days, or hours, I'm not sure, my neighbor recorded a few short clips about his progress. I think I'm stuck in a truck now. I can feel it moving. Must be in a warehouse. Pretty warm here. Still got plenty of food. That kind of stuff. And then, on the last entry, the box toppled over. He broke his neck, and that was it. The camera recorded until either the memory card was too full or the battery died. There's one thing I didn't tell the police after they showed me the video. One thing I heard in the footage that will haunt me to the day I die. Just after the tumble that broke his neck, I heard the familiar screeching of my garage door.
Damn. I kind of knew it was his neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, but holy crap, like, can you
There's
imagine?
No, I know. Well, also, when he's like, it would be a meat of the month club, I'm like, it said return to sender. He sent it.
And that's a pretty big box for it to be a meat of the month. Like, that's way too big.
And it would say something about refrigerate.
Yeah.
Damn.
I literally, like, could not.
Yeah.
I would die.
That also, like, I'm already suffering in my room, and it was only like 85 degrees today. I can't imagine being stuck in a box.
Yeah.
My window's
No, thank
open
you.
now, and I don't have a screen on it, so I'm gonna have so many stink bugs.
Yeah, I would also worry about someone like climbing through your window and like killing you, but
I'm on the second
stink
story.
bugs. I mean, murderers will do anything.
Nah.
It's those fucking stink bugs.
I would be able to tell if somebody was climbing up here. I would hear the ladder. Something.
Yeah,
My window's wide open.
what if you were asleep though?
Oh, I'm not leaving that open while I'm asleep.
Okay, there we go.
I have to let Ripley in. I'm scared she'd dive. Homer for sure. Just dive out the window.
Yeah, I'm extra paranoid about like my windows being open, so I don't leave even like second floor windows. No, thank you.
Oh yeah, I don't leave them open when I'm not here.
No. I am jealous that it's a little bit nicer out there because it's gonna be 96 tomorrow and like 98 on Sunday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be hot here. I'm kind of excited, except for that I work.
Yeah, it's only nice when it's hot and when you can go like the pool or something to cool down.
Right? Yeah, it's supposed to be 87 tomorrow. 92 for Sunday. And Monday.
So what do you do? Like that's considered really hot. Do you like is that too hot for you, or do you have like the window unit for your?
I have a window unit. It's so heavy, and I don't know who would help me move it to my window.
So do you just suffer in the heat?
I don't know. I had the window unit last year. I think I'm gonna have to ask somebody. Yeah. I don't even know what it got up to today, but it was pretty warm today. Like right now it's 75.
It's still pretty warm in my house. I feel like I need to get my AC serviced again because it's pretty toasty in here. It's like a 70.
I put my mom's in the other day, so we had 2 nights this week that we stole her room, like me and my kids, because it was just too hot in the rest of the house.
Yeah, it's 76 in my room right now where I am, and that's too hot for me. That's way too hot. No, I need the temperature to be like 68, 69, like no more than 69. Like 70 is too hot.
Yeah, it's supposed to go down to 67 on Thursday. I'm pretty excited about that too, honestly. We have some
Pretty
good
dope.
weather coming up.
So this next one is called A Story to Scare My Son. And it was the best monthly winner of 2014. So 10 years ago or 11 years ago at this point.
Why do they
And
want
it's
to
by
scare their
user.
son?
I mean, you'll see why. User oven friend. So,
Oven friend.
son, we need to have a chat about internet safety. I slowly crumpled down to the floor next to him. His laptop was open, and he was playing Minecraft on a public server. His eyes were locked into the action. Comments scrolled down the side of the chat box. Son, can you stop your game for a minute? He exited the world, closed the laptop, and looked up at me. Dad, is this gonna be another cheesy, scary story? What? I faked my hurt feelings for a second and then grinned at him. I thought you liked my cautionary tales. He grew up listening to my stories about children who encountered witches, ghosts, werewolves, and trolls. Like many generations of parents, I used scary stories to reinforce morals and teach lessons about safety. Single dads like me should use all the parenting tools at their disposal. He, he scrunched his face a little. They were fine when I was 6, but now that I'm getting older, they don't scare me anymore. They seem kind of silly. If you were going to tell a story about the internet, can you make it really, really scary? I squinted at him incredulously. He folded his arms. Dad, I'm 10 and I can handle it. Okay, I'll try, I began. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Colby. His expression indicated that he wasn't impressed with the terror of the introduction. He sighed deeply and settled in for one of his dad's cheesy stories. I continued. Colby went online and joined several children's websites. After a while, he started talking to other kids in the game and on the message boards. He made friends with another 10-year-old boy named Helper23. They liked the same video games and shows, and they laughed at all their jokes. They explored new games together. After several months of friendship, Colby gave Helper23 6 diamonds in a game they were playing. This was a very generous gift. Colby's birthday was coming up, and Helper23 wanted to send him a cool present in real life. Colby figured it wouldn't hurt to give Helper23 his home address, as long as he promised not to tell any strangers or grown-ups. Helper23 swore he wouldn't tell anyone else, not even his own parents, and set about mailing the package. I paused the story and asked my son, "Do you think this was a good idea?" "No," he said, shaking his head vigorously. In spite of himself, he was getting into the story. Well, neither did Colby. Colby felt guilty about giving away his home address, and his guilt began to grow and grow. By the time he put on his pajamas the next night, his guilt and fear were larger than anything else in his life. He resolved to admit the truth to his parents. The punishment would be steep, but it was worth it to have a clear conscience. He squirmed at his bed as he waited for his parents to tuck him in. My son knew the scary part was coming up, and in spite of his tough talk, he leaned forward, wide-eyed. I spoke quietly and deliberately. He heard all the noises in the house. The washing machine bounced around in the laundry room. Branches scraped against the brick outside his room. His baby brother cooed in the nursery, and there were some other noises he couldn't quite pinpoint. Finally, his dad's footsteps echoed down the hall. "Hey, Dad," he called out nervously. "I have something to tell you." His dad stuck his head in the doorway at a weird angle. In the darkness, his mouth didn't seem to move, and his eyes were all wrong. "Yes, son?" His voice was way off, too. "Are you okay, Dad?" the boy asked. "Uh-huh," sung the father in his strangely affected voice. Colby pulled the covers up defensively. Is Mom around?" "Here I am," Mom's head popped into the doorway below Dad's. Her voice was also an unnatural falsetto. Were you about to tell us you gave your address to Helper 23? You shouldn't have done that. We told you never give out personal information on the internet. She continued. He wasn't really a kid. He pretended to be one. Do you know what he just did? He came to our house, broke in, and murdered both of us. Just so he could spend time with you. A fat man in a wet jacket emerged in the child's doorway, holding the two severed heads. Colby shrieked and gasped as the man dropped the heads on the ground, unsheathed his knife, and moved in the room to work on the boy. My son screamed too. He twisted his hands defensively over his face. But we were just getting started with the story. After several hours, the boy was almost dead, and his screams had become whimpers. The killer noticed the wailing of a baby in the other room and removed his knife from Colby. That was a special treat. He had never murdered a baby before, and he was excited about the prospect. Helper 23 left Colby to die and followed the cries through the house like a homing beacon. In the nursery, he walked to the crib, picked the baby up, and held it in his arms. He moved towards the changing table to get a better look. But as he held the baby, the crying died down. He looked up at him and smiled. Helper 23 had never held a baby before, but he gently bounced at his arms like a pro. He wiped his bloody hands on the blanket so he could stroke the baby's cheek. Hey there, sweet little guy. The beautiful rage of sadism melted into something warmer and softer. He walked out of the nursery, took the baby home, named him William, and raised him as his very own. After I finished the story, my son was visibly shaken. Between ragged staccato breaths, he stammered, "But Dad, my name's William." I gave him a classic dad wink and tousled his hair. "Of course it is, son." William ran up the stairs to his bedroom in a fury of sobs. But deep down, I think he liked the story.
Wow.
I did not expect the end there.
No. Wow. I'm speechless.
Do you think it's actually that, like, actually happened, or do you think he's, like, being a typical dad and, like, just fucking with him?
I don't know. He's talking about how he's a single dad, and I don't like, did he do it just to scare William, or was it the truth and it scared William?
I mean, oh god, that was good. That was good. I can see why it won that award.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Can you imagine though, like, not imagine, like, how terrifying it would be to, like, see, like, your parents' heads, like, pop out from, like, the side of the door frame, like, being, like, clearly not your parents, and, like, someone's, like, impersonating their voice or trying to.
Well, yeah, and the way that you made it somehow sound like somebody also impersonating a clown.
That's what I pictured. A clown.
Perfect. Because, yeah,
Exactly.
I felt it. Your performance was amazing. You're getting really good at that.
My award-winning performance as a murderer in the story.
Yeah. Damn.
That was good. I like that one. One of the better ones we've read. I
Yeah.
feel like some of these are like duds and like,
You know, it's hard to spook us. We've been through a lot this last year.
yeah. I feel like our reality is scary enough as it is. Like,
Yeah, honestly, like that is pretty terrifying. You never know what you're gonna get.
like I said last time or 2 weeks ago, I miss the days of Joe Biden being president where I could just like zone out for like a week and not
Count
like
on
be
nothing.
terrified. Did you also see that? I might have sent this to you. That Trump reposted a conspiracy theory that Biden died in 2020, and his clone was president all these years.
Well, apparently he just launched an investigation to find out who was running things and like investigating an auto pen.
Which everyone uses.
I don't
It's
know.
so widely used. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But apparently I think I heard that on the radio.
It's insane. Like, he is obsessed with Joe Biden. Like,
Yes, he is.
and I feel like it's on the verge of, like, he's in love with him secretly because talks about him every single chance he gets. I'm like,
Well, it's
dude,
probably,
you're the president, man. Like,
yeah, that's probably what got between him and Elon. It's another
the
man.
bromance.
The Joe.
This next and final story is called I Died for 6 Minutes in 2003. Heaven is not what we think it is.
Oh,
And
awesome.
it was written 5 months ago. It was written by user Dr. Terrifying.
Dr. Terrifying. Well,
With
it's better.
apologies to what did you say?
I said that's a better name. Dr.
What was,
Terrifying.
what was the last one? Oven fried or something?
Yeah, something like that. Oven friend?
Okay, so I died for 6 minutes in 2003. Heaven isn't what we think it is. With apologies to religious, I feel my story must be shared. In 2003, when I was 15 years old, my heart stopped for 6 minutes. It happened on an ordinary afternoon at the point in my daily routine when I walked home from the bus stop. In the 4 blocks between the corner where I hopped off the bus and my front door, I started to feel nauseous. It came on suddenly without warning. I'd felt fine all day, ate a lunch of Bosco sticks and marinara sauce, something I'd had hundreds of times throughout high school. Before I had an opportunity to consider alternative causes, I broke out in a cold sweat. And then I felt a curious flutter in my chest. My heart slipped into what I later learned was an episode of ventricular fibrillation. It's a mouthful. I became breathless and collapsed. What happened next has been told to me after the fact. I apparently sprawled on the road where a woman was driving a hatchback and nearly crushed my skull beneath her tires. Instead, she screeched to a halt, tried to rouse me, and then dialed 911 when she failed to do so. EMS arrived to discover my heart had stopped beating. I was dead, technically. They took my body back to the hospital, and somewhere along the way managed to shock my ticker back to life. Thus began a harrowing, weeks-long journey through the American healthcare system that led eventually to an ablation, pacemaker, and mountains of debt my family still deals with. Accurate depiction right there. Spot on.
Yeah, for real.
But my heart is all right. And thank fuck it is, because what I learned that day has taught me never to thank God for anything. Because for those 6 minutes, as my lifeless body traveled through the city, accompanied by 2 paramedics working tirelessly to revive me, my soul transcended our world to visit the hereafter. During my visit, I learned things about our universe that I wish I hadn't. Perhaps in sharing my story, I might help our species prepare for what comes after we expire. It began. Also, it's a funny way to like say someone died is expire.
Yeah.
That's my new favorite thing is like saying that person expired.
Oh my God.
Like that old like the grandma on Instagram I or TikTok I introduced you to, Grandma Joniak. She always says she hasn't expired yet. I'm like, oh, thank God, you have not expired yet. It began with light, blinding, white, and pervasive. It bathed me, calmed me. It was everything they tell you about. Beatific, welcoming, and the stuff of spiritual experiences. I had the distinct feeling of ascent, like the light was lifting me skyward. I passed through several sets of gates, which my dizzied consciousness hardly registered. Upon reflection, I don't believe they were physical in any sense, and I yet to recall the feeling of admittance. Or yet I recall the feeling of admittance, as if they might have prevented me from rising had they remained closed. In any event, I arrived in a place without dimension, a place beyond reality. It only made sense why I occupied it. I don't believe a corporeal being can make sense of the astral plane. Something about its intangible existence defies translation. So what I came away with were mere impressions than images. I was not alone. Several life forces enclosed upon me on my arrival. At first, because of my Christian upbringing, I believed them to be angels. In my incorporeal form, I made the spiritually equivalent gesture of opening my arms, anticipating their embrace. Instead, I felt myself shackled by their powers. Like a collared dog, humiliation and terror came over me. These were not the ethereal beings I had been led to believe await us. They were cruel, unsympathetic overlords by whom I was fettered. Why? I thought, my soul wailing like a petulant child. Something like laughter returned, but it was cold and mocking. Thoughts floated into my consciousness like birds winging in and out of sight. They delivered some horrifying truths about existence that I'll do my best to relay to you now. Our universe, like many others running parallel to it, contains a pittance of total energy in existence. It is a farm used to produce souls which only arise in the precise conditions found in our cosmos. When you hear scientists talk about the improbability of the existence of our Goldilocks universe, it's because they don't actually come into being spontaneously. They're designed, and the hands that craft them are not benevolent gods, but rapacious beings with little care for the creatures they create. Our ultimate purpose, I learned in the custody of the spirits that shackled me, was to ripen until we were ready to serve them on their higher plane. The Big Bang, the Big Bang gave birth to the universe to give rise to life, to eventuate in humanity, a sufficiently conscious organism that can be harvested for use as slaves on a higher plane, where time and space dissolve into an eternity we spend in servitude. 6 minutes like in heaven felt like a lifetime, which I spent amusing what I perceived to be a childlike spirit with a penchant for psychologically distressing manipulation. It batted me around like a cat with a caught mouse, reveling in the pain it produced. Physical discomforts we imagine hell inflicting upon us pale in comparison to the torture of soul pain. Loss of a loved one comes closest to that piercing emotional damage resulting from trauma. When it became clear my time had not expired on Earth and I was to return, I was told not to reveal their existence to the rest of my kind. My reward, they said to me, would be a marginally improved station among the slave population. Alternatively, if I managed to convince others of their existence, new horrors would await me when I returned. I can't imagine anything worse than what I experienced, subsumed beneath an ineffable grief and torment. For weeks, I tried to explain to anyone who would listen what I experienced. Everyone told me I had suffered a very serious and traumatic experience for a young man, that the event left scars in my psyche, as well as my heart. I gave up trying to convince them. I slowly began to convince myself that what they told me was true. I'd simply imagined it, a death dream, as it were. The mind reckoning with its own imminent demise, trying to make sense of the experience. Then I met someone who claimed to have met God. This is a few years later when the author of a nonfiction book recounting their near-death experience visited my hometown. I won't reveal the author's name, as I don't want to invite a lawsuit, which I'm sure he'd launch against me if he read that I had besmirched him. I attended a reading and afterward confronted him about his tale. I looked him in the eye and asked him if he really met God, something I'm sure he's dealt with hundreds of times. He smiled and nodded, assuring me that yes, God is real and is filled with love. On a lark, I told him that I knew the truth, that slavery awaits us all. A flicker in his gaze betrayed his knowledge of the fact. He really had died and visited the afterlife, but lied about it in his book. Because he knew the truth of heaven, the horrible place our souls are bound for.
That's so scary
So fucked up, right?
that heaven could be worse than here.
And like, now, like, picture that, and all these people like saying they had near-death experiences. They saw, heaven and God. Like, when there was that really big author back in the day who wrote a book about how he visited heaven or whatever. Like, that being a thing that happened, but they didn't see heaven. I mean, they did see heaven, but it was like this awful thing, but they couldn't tell you what it was because if they did, they'd be tortured more.
This is the test right now. Do we believe it?
Well, you hit your head recently. You probably saw heaven for a little bit. Is that
I
what you
hit my
saw?
head a lot of times in my lifetime, and I don't think that I've witnessed heaven.
I am astounded by the number of times I have seen not just my own daughter, but like multiple kids hit their head on anything in the entire world and like still exist.
They're very
Like,
top heavy when they're that small. Yeah, I haven't died, but I've had some pretty lucky instances, or like I got hit by like a farm truck.
they're like, she's not ready to be harvested yet. Like, she's got to let her get some torture on Earth for a little bit, and then when she dies, she's like 95. When she's ripe, then we'll slave her.
Man, yeah, when she's
When she's ripe for the picking.
you have to be nice and old before we enslave you for your mediocre. Wouldn't that be something? Hell is just like an old folks' home. And you just have to like sit around in your cell not doing anything. It's like the same 3 shows on, and one of them's just the Weather Channel.
Probably honestly, like, you're just like watching infomercials, like the same annoying ones when you were a kid.
Yeah,
Over and
you
over
already
again.
own everything
Yeah.
in your little room. You don't even need a ShamWow. Nothing gets dirty.
I feel like for me, my hell would be I'm driving on a 2-lane highway and I can't go around the slow driver because they keep like speeding up when I try to pass them and then slowing down.
Yeah, mine would be I'm late for something perpetually for the rest of forever.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. That's
You're late
constant.
for that thing, and it's you being late for work. You have to work every day.
I mean, I have to work pretty much every day. I'm already living the severance life. That's my theory.
We also talk about how creepy guys are,
Yeah.
how weird guys are.
What do you got?
What do I not have? I'm on this. I think I'm in this group where it's like a Photoshop group, and a lot of the stuff that people post, like innocent stuff, but it's like a grandmom whose son just died, who wants someone to Photoshop like a blurry picture of him, his last picture, to be like more clear, and like it's a wholesome request. But then you get like a request for like this girl. I think today's request was like a girl asked to have somebody photoshopped out of the picture with her, I guess an ex-boyfriend, and guys kept photoshopping like it was like the casting couch, that porno, that
yeah.
stuff, and like a bunch of black guys also like in the photo. And I'm like, why are we just like jumping to this like weird thing and like making just like cringy ass comments saying like awful like derogatory shit
In a Photoshop group.
in a Photoshop group. I'm
Damn.
like someone. Yesterday's was like this girl asked. There was a picture of her and her boyfriend on a cruise, and his face was like he was tilted back and he was really blurry. And she said, "Can you fix his head? Like, can you just fix his head for me, make it clear. Like, here's another picture of him. Can you get that one on this photo? And instead, like, every guy in the comments photoshopped her giving him head, essentially, like placed in front of his crotch. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, come on, man. Like,
Photoshop group.
yeah, fucking weirdos, dude.
A Photoshop group. Like, what world do we live in? This is the bad place.
What hellscape? And they always like they wonder why women choose the bear. Like,
Yeah, not all men, right?
not all men. I love that. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this week. We are 2 weeks away, well, probably 3 weeks away from the last, or not the last, the year episode. I think we're gonna plan to do a live show that week. And so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts are, and if you want us to cover a certain story or a certain topic, drop a comment in the podcast on Spotify, and don't forget to rate us. We have 12 reviews. We're at 4.7 stars. That one Trumper who reviewed us badly is getting ratioed. So,
Awesome.
and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.